Happiest day, huh? The minigame from FNAF 3 which showcases 6 spirits assembling for a birthday party where after it has commenced, they are able to move on. Term happiest day in the franchise is used to describe the moment a spirit moves on, and for this to work, a spirit needs to experience a happy memory or even a dream for their agony to be healed, untethering their spirits from our world, hence the term happiest day. So, as simple of a concept as happiest day is, a spirit experiencing a happy memory to pass on into the afterlife, why is it so complicated? Why are there so many questions around the minigame, such as who is the Golden Freddy spirit? What or whose memories are the FNAF 3 minigames? And when does the MCI's happiest day happen in the timeline? All questions which I will attempt to answer in this video. So sit back, relax, and let's discover the secrets to happiest day. Happiest day for the MCI is participating in a birthday party alongside Charlie, who would not be content to move on unless Afton has been dealt with. An important thing to keep in mind is that a spirit does not have to move on even if they participate or are given the opportunity for happiest day. A spirit can stay so long as they are not content to do so. An example for this would be Jake, one of the spirits in the Stitch Wraith in FNAF Renders. Jake, while talking to Andrew, experiences a happy memory, a memory about watching a baseball game with his dad. The more he experiences the memory, the more he can feel himself being sucked from the Stitch Wraith into the memory where he felt as though he can experience this moment forever. Jake began to feel as if he was being sucked out of the thing he was in. He felt like he was a puff of smoke and he was being borne by an air current away from the being that had contained him. He could feel himself being pulled into the memory itself, and he intuitively understood that if he was enveloped in the memory, he could stay in that happy place forever. Jake realized he could easily relax into this wonderful memory and allow the whole of who he was to be extracted from the animatronic that contained him and Andrew. He could stop trying so hard. He could go have fun. However, Jake refuses his happiest day to stay with Andrew to help clean up the mess he caused with his anger, infected numerous objects across the friend's stories, and move on with him. So, a spirit, if they so choose, can remain in this world. They do not have to accept their happiest day. This will be important for later. Now that we know what's happiest day for the spirits in the core story is, whose memories are the FNAF 3 minigames reflecting? Well, an answer would be all the MCI. However, I believed them to be the Crying Childs. Allow me to introduce the theory of Shadow Victim. If you've never heard of the theory, it suggests that all the minigames in FNAF 3 reference something from FNAF 4. So as such, his memories are used for the MCI's happiest day. This theory is one I personally believe in and one I think is quite strong. If you look at each minigame from FNAF 3, they do in fact reference something from FNAF 4. In Bibi's Air Adventure, Balloon Boy matches with the Balloon Kid from the Night 3 minigame. In Mangle's Quest, Mangle matches with Mangle or Funtime Foxy or whatever. In the sister's bedroom, the crying puppet is in the same position of the crying child at the end of FNAF 4's Night 6 minigame. In Chica's party, Toy Chica matches the Toy Chica figure from the girl's toy collection, and the windows line up with the FNAF 4 hallway windows. Stage 01 is the Fredbear stage. The Shadow Bonnie in their minigame would be the shadows the animatronics cast on the wall, and Happiest Day itself is an inverse to Fredbear's family diner. Further evidence to support this theory is the survival logbook. Within the book contains 3 speakers. The first in red handwriting is Mike, the second is in faded text being Cassidy, and the last speaks through altered words being the Crying Child. We know the faded text is Cassidy's because on the grave it says my name, and the gravestone, which was discovered in the gravestone ending to FNAF 6, is Golden Freddy's. Cassidy in the book asks a lot of questions which reference FNAF 4 and experiences the Crying Child had throughout that game, such as, was your favorite childhood toy a purple telephone? Does he still speak to you? Do you have dreams? The party was for you. Cassidy seems to be communicating with the Crying Child to see what he remembers from his past. This can be inferred because through the altered text he responds with, the party was for me, such as, what do you see? He responds with, I can't see, I'm scared. But could she be communicating with Mike as well? After all, it was his logbook, so she could be asking the questions for him? It's possible, but I don't think this can be true, because the only time Mike may have responded to or any indication he knows about the conversation in the book is when he draws Nightmare Fredbear on the same page as the question, do you have dreams? So if Cassidy is asking questions to the Crying Child to see what he remembers from his past, then how could she be referencing items from his past which only he would know about? It's because after the MCI occurred, the fragments of the Crying Child attached to Fredbear via his tears also latched on to Freddy and the gang. After all, the Freddy gang plushies in FNAF 4 were the Crying Child's friends. This only works because agony and human emotion is infectious and at times insidious. As Dr. Taggart says in Fazbear Frights, human emotion is slower to impact, more insidious. It emanates from us, or is excreted from us, if you will, like sweat or tears, and it wafts outward like a noxious cloud, soaking into the surroundings. For some time, I have been studying the effect of these emotions. We see this very thing with tears in the novel trilogy. Henry was able to create life in the Charlie bots because he cried over the Aladol for months, creating the essence of Charlie from his grief to the point he started to believe the doll was her, which is why he created the Charlie bots in the novels and how they came to life, because they had the tear-soaked Aladol embedded inside of them, containing the memory of Charlie. This, I believe, happened with the Crying Child. His tears or intense fear and anguish fell onto Fredbear the day he died. So even if he died in a hospital, it's possible a part of him latched onto Fredbear, and the final piece of evidence to support the idea of the Crying Child's memories being used for Happiest Day is this page in the logbook depicting the puppet handing Cassidy a cake, just like in the Happiest Day minigame, and the text above saying, reflect on the happiest day of your life. Though I do have additional interpretations for what this page means, and we'll discuss this soon. I believe for Happiest Day to occur, it would seem the Crying Child's memories fragmented across the MCI must be used to both set them free and himself. This is what Happiest Day is for the children, reverting the tragedy of the Crying Child and in turn giving themselves peace. With what and how out of the way, what about when? To know when Happiest Day occurs, we must evaluate the possible time placements it can occur in, those being FNAF 3, FNAF 6, UCN, Fazbear Frights, and Help Wanted 2 or Ruin. FNAF 3 is the easiest to debunk, as all of the MCI and Charlie are present in Molten Freddy, shown in Follow Me as Afton dismantled the FNAF 1 endos for Remnant. The gravestone ending depicting the names of the MCI, with Charlie watching over them on a hill and Henry's comments from the Insanity ending.
It's only now that I understand the depth of the depravity of this creature, this monster that I unwillingly helped to create, as if what he had already done wasn't enough. He found a new way to desecrate, to humiliate, to destroy. Small souls trapped in prisons of my making, now set to new purpose, and used in ways I never thought imaginable. He lured them all back to a familiar place, back with familiar tricks. He brought them all together. He set some kind of trap. I don't know what it was, but he led them there, again. He overpowered them, again. And he robbed them of the only thing that they had, again. I have to call them all back, all of them, together in one place.
Honestly, the only thing I think FNAF 3 does for the story is releasing Springtrap from the safe room and maybe Mike helping set the pieces up for Happiest Day. Now, onto FNAF 6. This game was originally supposed to end the story of the franchise, and in a way, it did. It was the ending to a chapter, an ending to one story and the beginning of another. So, it would make sense for the ending of the series to have what should have been the children's Happiest Day happen after the events of this game during the fire. Evidence for this being the case is the gravestone ending showing all the kids at rest. But is this so? Future games seem to hint towards Cassidy still being present and Afton survived the fire, while the Weekend he was tormented in UCN, and Charlie wouldn't have moved on if he didn't. So let's take a look at other options. UCN, like FNAF 6, was the ending to the first story, acting as the epilogue to it, a celebration of the series so far with the characters across all of the previous games, including FNAF World. William Afton is tormented by the vengeful spirit and all the other children would move on. To support Happiest Day occurring during or after UCN is the Old Man Consequences ending. Upon setting his AI to 1 and catching his fish, you as Cassidy are transported to his lake where you can hear Afton screams for help. Old Man's Consequences says to Cassidy to leave the demon to their demons and to rest their own soul, there is nothing else. She then proceeds to drown herself into the lake, which in FNAF World led to Happiest Day. However, the game crashes, and if you opened the game up again, you are greeted with, like every other time, the main menu. Despite the lake in FNAF World giving spirits the Happiest Day, it's also possible that in UCN, the lake led Cassidy to UCN. What about Fazbear Frights? As I am a believer in Stitchline games, the theory that all of the stories connected to the Stitch Wraith epilogues are canon to the game's timeline, despite the contradictions it has with them. In the Stitch Wraith story, Charlie residing in the puppet mask is still here, and so is Afton after exploding in the Fazbear distribution center, ending UCN, where he followed Andrew, who I believe to be the vengeful spirit, into Fetch's battery pack. After Jake and Andrew collected Andrew's infected objects, Afton, who tagged along unbeknownst to them in the Stitch Wraith, absorbed all of the Agony infected objects to create a new vessel for himself, called the Agony canonically. Some refer to him as the Afton amalgamation. He, in his new form in the very next epilogue, once Eleanor outgrew him, once she received what she wanted from him, his Agony presumably in his weakened state. Charlie in the puppet mask takes the opportunity to destroy his body and with it himself. A couple pieces of evidence to suggest that Happiest Day takes place after this moment is 1. Charlie being present in Happiest Day when she is still in our world hunted for Afton, and 2. The description of children singing from within the Afton amalgamation. The first point can be countered because, as stated before, with Jake's Happiest Day, spirits, if they are not content to move on, can stay even after their Happiest Day. As the Counter Encyclopedia states on her pages, if there are souls trapped in metal prisons and Afton is still around, Charlie will remain. While the book also said Happiest Day happened in FNAF 3 as she remained active in FNAF 6, I think this moment can still stand even if the placement of Happiest Day according to the book is wrong. When using the guidebooks for lore and evidence, it's best to use them with an open and cautious mind, because while they are approved and some are written with the help of Scots, they are notorious for the mistakes. Bonbon ain't in FNAF 3, though the original Freddy files was written in the perspective of 3 people in universe and 1 out of universe, and as such was written to be misleading according to Scots. I wonder if that mindset still applied to the other guides. But anyway, on to the last possible placements for Happiest Day, Hub Wanted 2 and Ruin. These 2 installments in the series do have a fair amount of evidence to suggest Happiest Day occurs either after Hub Wanted 2 or during Ruin. Throughout the Steel Wall era, there were many hints towards Cassidy still being present. In Hub Wanted's Curse of Dreadbear DLC, upon hitting the 3 clown posters, you are greeted with a purple lighting change with text "It's me" on the game win banner, a phrase commonly associated with Golden Freddy. In FNAF Special Delivery, there is a second virus within the systems of the Fazbear Funtime service, referred to as the C virus. This virus is believed to be Cassidy as well. For a few brief moments, the TV screen flashes the letter C, with "It's me" once again appearing on the wall above the TV. The messages from C on the phone at the end of the second teaser trailer says, "I will find you," as the silhouette of Freddy looms over a table perfectly lining up with a bow tie. This, I believe, is meant to be Golden Freddy, not Freddy, despite Freddy's voice speaking in the teaser. In Help Wanted 2, a red man appears in Princess Quest 4, who is labeled as OMC in the dialogue files, OMC being an acronym for Old Man Consequences, who was last seen alongside Cassidy in UCN. Then, in Ruin, we see 5 balloons float away in the background of the Brazil ending, potentially indicating Happiest Day has occurred after Glitch Trap was vanquished by Vanny and Cassie's dad, as I believe Cassidy to be the princess, with Chica watching her in PQ3 as Susie was the first of the MCI to be lured away. Check out my video on it for a more in-depth analysis of the theory. All of these details across the various newer games seem to imply that either Cassidy is still here and once Glitch Trap is dealt with, she can move on with the others' kids in Happiest Day, or now has moved on and all 5 children are at rest. So, with the evidence across the Steel Wall era of Cassidy's presence and Happiest Day, I can see why people would believe Happiest Day happens here. But what do I think? Well, there is a fair amount of evidence to suggest Happiest Day happens after Help Wanted 2 or during Ruin. I don't think this is true. To me, it makes the most sense, both narratively and lore-wise, for Happiest Day to have happened after FNAF 6 and during UCN. All of the spirits are present in a labyrinth dedicated to being the resting place for them all, so having everyone rest here just works. Now, let me explain why this might be the case. As stated before, Happiest Day cannot happen in FNAF 3 because, as the gravestone ending of FNAF 6 suggests, the MCI have been put to rest due to the fire. Happiest Day could have happened after Epilogue 8 of Fazbear Frights, as Charlie is still present in the puppet mask, which is used to destroy Afton's spirit once and for all. While Charlie's spirit is in Happiest Day and her mask is the last to fall, potentially implying that she stuck around a little bit longer. But remember what her character encyclopedia page says. She sticks around if there are still spirits trapped in metal prisons, and if Afton is still around. If Happiest Day did occur during UCN, then all of the spirits would no longer be trapped, and Afton would be, and if he is, then Charlie won't be far behind him. Epilogue 8 of Fazbear Frights has the puppet mask, and Afton fall into a lake after he was dismantled would also symbolize her moving on and receiving her happiest day, just like in the RMC ending of UCN and FNAF World, meaning the other spirits' happiest day can occur without Charlie moving on with them. Okay, but what about the implications that Cassidy still remained after UCN up until Hub 1 to 2 and Ruin? Wouldn't that mean that happiest day did not occur during UCN, and as it would go against Shadow Victim? Well, I do have some kind of loophole for this, which I don't know if I even like under the interpretation of Shadow Victim. However, it involves Molten Freddy. If the theory of Molten MCI and Shadow Victim is true, then having all 5 kids in Molten Freddy would in some way reform the crying child's soul, or at least his fragmented memories could have a stronger connection or correlation with each other. As such, it is possible that this caused his soul to manifest within the Happiest Day minigame, while also using his memories to put him and the other souls to rest, while Cassidy is free to remain beyond the Happiest Day. As she says in the logbook, the party was for you. You, in this case, is referring to the crying child, and one of Molten Freddy's lines say,
"One big happy family."
This would suggest that the crying child is in Molten Freddy, as he and the rest of the Afton family are together once again. Scrap Baby as Elizabeth, Scrap Trap as Afton, Mike as the security guard, and Molten Freddy as the crying child. This would allow for the role of Golden Freddy in the minigame to be occupied by the crying child rather than Cassidy. However, another alternative is one I would favor more, is that Cassidy simply did not move on and allowed for everyone else, including the crying child, to move on in Happiest Day. While it might not make sense from what the Happiest Day minigame shows us, it's possible that Cassidy offers her memory she has of the crying child to reform his soul and choose to remain, just as Jake surrenders a happy memory of his own to help Andrew move on before Afton can absorb Andrew's soul into the agony. Or more accurately, Jake used his memory to knock Andrew loose from the hold Afton had on his soul, which could be further backed up by the logbook with the puppet giving her a cake like in Happiest Day. Because she is the receiver, she is the last piece of the puzzle. This would explain why she dives into the lake of UCN. She in fact listens to OMC's advice and drowns into the lake, leading to Happiest Day, just like it does in FNAF World. So despite Cassidy being a part of Happiest Day, it's possible that she remained beyond it, while also allowing for the crying child to have his Happiest Day. However, it is worth noting that the 6 balloons in the Happiest Day minigame floating away would indicate that all of their souls are freed. But why would she stay behind? I believe this is because of Andrew. Cassidy from the logbook seems to be someone who cares for other lost spirits and helps them along their way to Happiest Day. She would also want Afton dead, as Follow Me would suggest her chasing Afton into Spring Bonnie. And if she is indeed the princess in PQ1 holds a lantern, which could be used to symbolize a light in the dark, guiding lost souls, a symbol of hope and safety for those seeking freedom, which is what Happiest Day is. All reason enough for her to remain. She stays to either help or convince Andrew to let Afton go and move on as well. However, he does not. So it's possible that she hangs out with Old Man Consequences, as she is not able to have her Happiest Day because she gave her chance up, as she would be the princess the next time we see OMC is with the princess, Cassidy, as we can hear the screams of Afton in OMC's area when he explodes in the Fazbear Distribution Center UCN would end, and she would know that something is up. So she goes looking for Andrew or Afton or both, and ends up in the Freddy Fazbear virtual experience, where she encounters Glitchtrap, believing him to be Afton, when in fact it's not. Upon discovering this, she would want to take down the thing that's mimicking her killer and hurting many along the way. She follows him everywhere they go, in AR, Security Breach, and Help Wanted 2, where she discovers Jeremy, Cassie's dad, who I believe to be a spirit trapped in the Vanny network, which I explore in this video. She, as the princess, offers her sword to Jeremy to destroy the thing he sets out to do, since Security Breach. Once he does, him and her will be able to move on, which the 5 balloons in the Brazil ending indicate to me. That by the time of Ruin, she has moved on, and all the MCI and Charlie have moved on as well. While it's confusing for Happiest Day to use the Crying Child's memories to occur in FNAF 6, whilst also having Cassidy remain, I think this is what's happened. Yes, there is more evidence to support Happiest Day happened in Ruin, or to accept that Cassidy is not the princess. I just think that Happiest Day should happen after FNAF 6 and drain UCN, regardless, as it would be the most satisfying narrative-wise for it to occur here. Though this is FNAF, there are many decisions made in its story that are not good, at least in my opinion. Though I can see it's been a possibility that Happiest Day happened drain UCN, or even drain Fazbear Frights. So it's really up in the air. But what do you guys think? Does Happiest Day occur drain FNAF 6, drain UCN, Frights, or even Ruin? Feel free to share in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to subscribe, hit the bell to be notified when I upload next, and like the video. It's appreciated. I also have a Twitter you could follow me on if you would like. And as always, enjoy your day/evening.